All right, hello everyone. Happy Monday. Hopefully everybody's having a great day today. Let's see who's all with us. Looks like we got lots of our regulars. Was anybody with us on our last TikTok stream? Anybody getting the double feature today? Let me know. Let me know if you were here with us on TikTok or if you're just joining us here for YouTube. Let me know. Let me know what you guys are up to today. So we're going to be doing, if you were with us on TikTok, we're going to be doing a similar design, but we are going to be working with gel instead of acrylic. So on TikTok, we were working with acrylic. Today, we're going to be working with gel here on YouTube. You guys, just a quick reminder, if you weren't with us on our TikTok stream, make sure that you get those notifications as well. Make sure that you set up those notifications so that when we do go live on whatever platform, you can get that notification so that you know when we're going to be live and you can get all the great information. So today we're going to be doing a gel, like I said, and the colors that we're going to be using, you guys, I didn't post the colors on Discord today, but I'm going to give you a little preview here so that you know what we're going to be using so you can gather your colors if you want to work along with me. So our first color is going to be silver, and this one is just like it says. This is a straight solid silver. This one doesn't have any of the holographic or other colors involved in that, just straight silver. So that one is a gorgeous color. And then we've also got Shimmering Sand. So these two colors, so this one, that's kind of a champagne-y kind of a gold, kind of a softer kind of a gold. So these two colors together are really going to be kind of our metallic background. Okay, so we're going to mix these all together and kind of create that beautiful metallic background. Okay, so we've got those. And then we're also going to add in, what do we got? Six Figure Fox. And this is also kind of a combination of that silver and gold. So this one you can kind of see, that is, there we go. So a combination of that silver gold, but it does have that hologram to it. So that really pretty kind of color reflection. So you're going to see a lot of different colors kind of reflecting, but you're going to see the majority is the silver and gold. Okay, and then we've also got major and minor raindrops. And you guys, these are probably two of my favorite colors to mix into any kind of a dimensional nail because these, again, reflect a lot of different colors. I know they look kind of pink in there, but depending on what colors you put those with, you're going to see a lot of different color reflection. So again, as I kind of move that, you can really see all of those different colors in there. So I think that is going to be a really pretty combination. And again, it's the major and minor raindrops. So the major are the larger sizes, minor are the smaller sizes, both the same colors, but just in different sizes. So that's what we're going to be working with today. And let's see. Yes, you guys, there's a question in the chat about mystery boxes. The acrylic mystery box is sold out. We will not be restocking them. We do have the gel mystery box available, so if you're wanting that, I would say shop now while you can, while it's still available. So don't miss out on that one. All right, you guys, let's get into our nail. So we're going to start with our prep. We're going to push back those cuticles just like we do, whether it's acrylic, hard gel, gel polish. You're always going to go through and push back those cuticles. She's missing a finger here, but we're going to go on. Whenever you're working either on the trainer hand or on a real client, never skip this step, okay? Especially when you're doing the trainer hands, I always think people tend to kind of breeze over the prep when they're working on the trainer hand and they don't get the proper practice. So make sure that you're still practicing all of those techniques so that you don't forget to do them when you're actually working on a real client, okay? I'm going to grab my, my sanding band here. I'm going to change out my bit. So I always want to make sure that I've got a new, clean, fresh, brand new sanding band for every client. You guys, these are not sanitizable and disposable, or sorry, not sanitizable and disinfectable. They are disposable. So you want to make sure that you're changing those out after every client, okay? We're going to slide that right onto our mandrel. Now you guys notice, I'm actually going to push that bit all the way in. Because what was happening is as I was pushing that sanding band on, it was actually moving my mandrel. And you guys, you want to make sure that you're not pulling that mandrel in and out of the handpiece while it's locked. That can actually start to strip the mechanism in there that holds it. So make sure if you're putting that sanding band on, put that bit all the way down in there. And then if you need to press that down there a little bit more, just grab onto your handpiece and then press that top part down. And that'll slide that bit all the way, or that sanding band all the way onto the bit, okay? All right, let's go ahead and prep our nail. So I'm gonna come in here. So I'm gonna work with my E-file at about 5,000 RPMs. So nice and low. And we're gonna work right up around the cuticle area. So just coming right up around and just kind of short circular motions. Okay, let's come in a little bit more. Crystal Glitterbug, sorry about the technical difficulties. We did jump back into TikTok, but you may have missed the rest of it. But that's okay. You're here now, and so you'll get some of that, some of the gist of it. So anybody that was on our TikTok, it did cut out for a second, but we did come back. So, all right. So working right up around that cuticle area, getting that cuticle nice and clean. And you guys make sure that as you're working around the cuticle area, that you're keeping that bit flat or parallel to the nail, not angling up. You don't want to try to use that top corner of the bit. You want to use probably about the top, let me turn this off really quick. So I'd say probably the top third of your bit to 2/3 of your bit maybe, depending on the nail. But again, you don't want to be using that corner, because if you try to work around with that corner, that's actually going to start to cut into the nail. By dropping that handpiece down a little bit, dropping that bit down a little bit, keeping that that bit flat onto the nail, that's going to give you a smoother finish, okay? And it's not going to cause damage. Now, once we get up around that cuticle area, we're kind of working from that top right corner up into that top left corner. Once we finish that cuticle area, your bit is going to be at kind of a diagonal to the nail. So we're going to just keep the bit in that diagonal. We're not going to straighten that out and work across the nail. So we're going to work kind of diagonal. Okay, I'm going to turn this on the side a little bit so you guys can see a little better. And I'm going to work in kind of a feathering motion. So I'm just going to feather that bit all the way through that whole entire nail to just gently remove the shine. Okay, working wherever you need to, just kind of those short little feathering strokes. Now, if you're a beginner and you don't quite have that hand movement down, you guys, all I'm doing really is just kind of working like this, okay? So just kind of working in that feathering motion. But again, if you don't have that motion down, what you can do is just slow it down. Okay, so work across the nail, pick up the bit, across the nail, pick up the bit, across the nail, pick up the bit. This way you're going to start to get into that motion, and then the more you practice, the easier it's going to get, the faster you're going to be able to move. Okay, now I am still picking up my bit every time. I'm not just grinding all the way across the nail like that. When I feather, you kind of hear that tick, 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 tick. Okay, that's showing you that I'm not just grinding all the way across and back and forth, okay? If you do keep the bit on, let me show you here. If you keep the bit on and you're just grinding back and forth like that, kind of what's happening is you're creating friction on that nail, and that friction is going to cause heat on the nail, okay? So A, you're going to probably burn your client's nail, excuse me, but B, you're probably going to be doing some damage to that nail. Okay, we want to make sure that we're just very gently, just barely removing the shine. We're not trying to grind away the whole entire nail surface, okay? Excuse me. All right, we are going to come in with our manicure brush. We're going to clean this nail off. So we want to brush all of that dust off. And you guys, I'm actually seeing still just a little bit of a shiny spot right down on the side here. I'm going to get that with my electric file. So if you're working and there's a little shiny spot on the left side, just use the top part of your bit. Just kind of do a quick little feather down there. On the right side, you can use the base of your bit and just kind of feather right through that side there, okay? Don't try to come in and try to, I don't know, try to do weird kind of motions around here. Just use the base of that bit. That's going to be nice and easy. Same thing, use the top part of the bit on that side. Just nice and easy, okay? All right, again, let's come back in here. We're going to dust off that nail, and always make sure that you're dusting kind of in a down, up and down motion rather than a side to side motion. Okay, if you're brushing side to side, a lot of times what that does is that just pushes the dust down into those sidewalls. So it's going to get that dust kind of stuck right down on the sides. When we brush forward, it's actually going to pull that dust out and pull it all the way out of those sidewalls on those edges, okay? So always make sure when you're dusting, dust in the direction that the nail grows, not from side to side. And then we'll come back in with our swipe. Now, swipe is our cleanser. I'm going to pump a little bit of that onto my manicure brush. And just like we were doing before, we're going to brush in the direction of the nail growth. Okay, so brushing all the way through there, really making sure that that nail gets nice and clean and all of that dust cleaned off of there. The swipe is also going to help to kind of pull off any of those surface oils on there or any other contaminants that may be on the nail. And by contaminants, I mean germs, bacteria, or any other icky things that we might not want on there. Okay, now as that swipe dries, you're going to notice that it is going to go back to kind of that chalky look, and that's exactly what we want. We want to make sure that the nail is nice and clean, dry, and no moisture on there before we go to our next step. The next step that we're going to do is apply our protein bond. Okay, protein bond is our bonder. It works like an anchor or a double-sided tape. So when we put this onto the nail, it is going to leave a tacky surface. Okay, when I use the protein bond, I usually will lift up my brush out of there, tap off some of that extra because I don't want a full brush fully loaded and going onto that nail because that could actually flood onto the nail and we don't want that. So again, I'm just going to pick up my protein bond, tap a little bit of that off, and then we'll apply that to the nail. Now I start in the center of the nail, I brush that down to the free edge and then brush out to the sides. And this helps me to, again, keep from flooding that product into that cuticle area. So as I work, the majority of my product stays right more in that center, and then I work it out to the side and then back up to the cuticle. So again, it's not going to flood. Okay. If we're working on acrylic or hard gel, which we are going to be doing hard gel today, I'm always going to do 2 coats of my protein bond with those enhancements. Okay, if you're just doing a regular gel manicure, 1 coat will work just fine. Okay, somebody's asking in the chat, what is the swipe? Let's see, come back out here. So I just did the swipe before I put the protein bond on, but swipe is our cleanser. So it is going to help remove any dust, any germs, any bacteria, or any excess surface oil. So that's what swipe is. Okay, that's the purpose of it. All right, let's grab our forms, and we're just going to use one of our standard forms today. These are the blue forms. We're going to peel that off of our paper, peel that little tab out of the center, and we're going to put that little tab right on the back of our form. That's going to give our form a little bit more durability so that when we pinch this form together, it's going to have a little bit more kind of structure feeling, okay? So these 2 little silver tabs here, we are going to pinch those together. I'm going to pinch those together as evenly as we can get them. And then we're going to do, I know on our last one we did an almond shape. You guys, should we do more of a stiletto today? You want to do a stiletto? I think we'll do a stiletto. I'm kind of in that mood today. So we're going to just pinch that form just to the point. Now, if you were going to do a square nail, leave that end open, okay? If you are doing more of an almond shape or a shorter kind of a nail, you can pinch that form a little bit tighter, so that's going to be the length of your extension. If you're going to be doing a coffin shape, you're still going to pinch it to the end. So let me grab another form here. And same thing, stick that little tab on the back. We're going to pinch our silver tabs together nice and even. So again, you guys, if you are doing a square nail, leave that end open. If you are doing more of a, more of a coffin shape or a stiletto shape, pinch that form down. Pinch that form down at the end, okay? We're going to open up that top perforation and we're going to get this form up underneath the nail. Now, when I get the form on the nail, I'm going to start at a slight downward tilt, catch that form right up underneath the free edge, and then we're just going to lift up and rock that form until it comes flush up underneath that natural nail, okay? We're going to secure that down on the sides. And then I'm just going to kind of check, is my form coming straight out from the nail? Looks like it is. Just kind of use that bold line down the center of the form as kind of your guide. And you can also line up, I'm just using an orange wood stick here, but if you line up your orange wood stick or something from all the way through, from the knuckles all the way through that finger, you're going to be able to tell if that form is straight, okay? And I'm looking on this, you guys, the camera's a little bit off, so there we go. So you can see that that orange wood stick is coming straight down the middle of that form, right to the point of where my form is down here. So that shows me that my form is on there nice and straight, okay? Always make sure that your forms are on straight. Make sure that once you have all 4 forms on here, compare these fingers, okay? Line those up so that you can see if all of those forms are going on straight, because sometimes what can happen is maybe you got a form on and maybe it looked straight. Whoops, actually, let me clean this off really quick. But you guys, I do want you guys to kind of see this. So if you get a form on there and it may be kind of crooked, but sometimes when we focus so much on just that one finger, it may look straight as we're looking at it, but I'm going to kind of over exaggerate this so you guys can really see it, but just so you can kind of tell, okay? Those 2 forms do not look like they're straight in line with each other, so that's why I'm going to tell you, always compare all 4 fingers here, because those forms all should be looking straight in line with each other, okay? So that's kind of one way to tell if all of your nails are going to be straight. Yeah, that one's still a little bit lopsided, okay? But again, always compare. That looks a lot better. Okay, so compare those forms. Make sure that those forms are all coming straight out as they should, in line with each other. Okay. All right, so we've got our form on there. Let's grab our gels. And let's see, I've got our base gel. I'm also going to be using a little bit of our flex gel. And we'll grab our clear sculptor and probably our build pink today too, okay? But we're gonna start with the clear sculptor, and we're gonna use that to build out our extension. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of this right on our free edge. Oops, got a little bubble in there. But we're gonna squeeze out a little bit of that product onto our free edge. I'm gonna work that just using the nozzle, kind of that little applicator, and I'm gonna work that from side to side. So bringing that all the way out to the side, come back to the center, pushing a little bit more of that product. I'm actually going to squeeze out a little bit more of that gel, bringing that all the way out to the side till it kind of connects into that little corner. And then let's squeeze out just a little bit more. And then we're going to start to kind of feather that down the length of our form, okay? If you feel like you need a little bit more, I always squeeze out product in the center of the nail and then work it, because sometimes if you try to squeeze it from the side, say I felt like I needed more product here, if I squeeze from the side, it has more of a tendency to run. So that's why I'm going to just bring that to the center, squeeze out a little bit more, and then we'll bring that down. All right, maybe we won't do quite a stiletto. Maybe we'll just do a longer almond shape today, because I'm kind of liking that. All right, I'm going to grab my little tile here. And I always like to have a tile handy so that I can clean out my brush. You guys, I am using one of our new brushes. This is the 2-piece one. This is the size 5. And I believe this was in the gel kit, the gel mystery box. So you can use that brush. I'm going to just use that little tile to make sure my brush is nice and clean, that I don't have any extra gel in there. And then I'm just going to kind of feather through that free edge, making sure everything is nice and thin, that I don't have too much bulk, even like towards the end. Wipe out my brush, clean that off. I'm going to turn that nail on the side, and then I'm going to use the edge of my brush to just wipe that, kind of that line of gel all the way back. So I'm going from, let me come in a little closer here. So I'm going from that point of the form all the way back up into the little corner right here. Again, making sure that that's nice and straight and that there's nothing really hanging down those sides. Same thing on the other side. You can kind of see there's a lot of product hanging down the side here. So again, coming back in, wiping that all the way back up, getting that up onto the nail. And then again, I'm going to clean out my brush. Let's go ahead and get this into the light. So we're going to set this one into the light. I'm going to change my timer here to 30 seconds on that. So this one, this light over here, I've got my 30-second timer on the back. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. So we've got 30 seconds back there. So that's enough to freeze this into place. Now, is it fully cured after 30 seconds? No, but it's going to be set enough so where we can do our next coat. And the next coat that we're going to be using is our base gel. And when you're working with our Synergy gel system, you always want to make sure that you're using base on that natural nail. The base is kind of your bonding layer, so that's what's really going to make sure that your gel adheres, okay? If you skip the layer of base on the natural nail, chances are you may have a little bit of lifting issue, okay? So we want to make sure that we're getting a good even coverage of that base onto our natural nail. And I'm just brushing a little bit. You guys, I don't have a ton of product on my brush here, just enough to create a thin layer. And again, we're not trying to build up structure or anything like that, just adhering that to that whole natural nail. Okay, now you can kind of see there's a little bit of a kind of a slight drop down between that natural nail and the free edge. What I like to do is I'll take just a little bit more gel. So just kind of take a little bit of that, and we're just going to kind of drizzle that right through that connection area. So this way it's going to ensure that my natural nail connects to that free edge, but then it also kind of gives it a little bit more flow so there isn't quite such a drop down. Okay, we're going to go back into the light again for another 30-second freeze. So just like we did on that first layer. But while that one is in the light, we're going to grab our flex gel. And we're going to grab our glitters. So let me come in here. So we've got our flex gel, and then we've got, let me create some space here. All right, so we've got our flex gel. Now we're going to mix our glitter into our gel, and you can use whatever gels you want to mix, but I like to use either the flex or the build pink, because the flex is going to be your thinnest gel, and then the build and the build pink, those are a little bit thicker, but they're still, I would say, kind of a medium viscosity. So when I do mix my gels and my glitters, I want something a little on the thinner side so that the product doesn't end up feeling too thick. So again, that's why we're going to start with the flex. I'm going to take a little bit of that onto my mixing tile, and then we'll grab some of our Shimmering Sand, and we'll take a little scoop of that. Now you guys, if you were watching on our TikTok, I was doing this in acrylic. So I was doing the same kind of application, just using acrylic. When you're working with acrylic, you want to make sure that you've got a good consistency and kind of a ratio of acrylic to glitter. And with acrylic, that ratio is going to be 3 to 1. So 3 parts acrylic to 1 part glitter. When you're working with gel, there's not a specific ratio, but you do want to make sure that you have enough gel so that you don't have just kind of chunky kind of feeling gel. So as I'm working this together, I can feel that it still feels kind of soft. It still feels like it's a little bit self-leveling and just very smooth feeling. Okay. If you add too much glitter, it's going to start to feel thick and kind of chunky feeling. But you can see, you guys, I don't know if you can even see how pretty this is on camera. Let me come in nice and close. But this is going to be a really pretty kind of metallic background. Yeah, you guys, I'm telling you, camera doesn't do this justice. You're going to have to see this one in person. You guys are going to have to do this nail for yourself. Okay, but that's kind of our base. Now, once we've got those 2 finer glitters in there, then I'm going to add some of the chunkier stuff. So this one is 6 Figure Fox. So we're going to add a little bit of that. This one I might just kind of tap out of the jar right onto our tile there. So just a little bit of that. And same thing, we'll just start to mix that in. Now with this chunkier glitter, I can actually kind of feel that it is making my gel a little bit thicker. Now I do want a little bit more of that chunky in there. So let me come back out. So I'm going to mix a little bit more of that in, but I also might add a little bit more gel to this mixture, just to make sure that it doesn't get too thick feeling. Okay, so you can kind of see, do you see how it looks a little bit chunkier now? Not quite as smooth looking. You guys, that shine on camera, I tell you, it doesn't quite do it justice here, but it does. It looks a little bit thicker, a little bit kind of chunkier with those bigger glitters in there. Chunky is probably not the best word, but a little bit thicker, okay? So I think I am going to add just a little bit more gel, just to thin that out just a little bit. So let me clean off my spatula here, and we'll add just a little bit more of that flex gel, so we can kind of thin out that texture just a little bit. Add that in. And you guys, when you're mixing your gels and your acrylic together, really make sure that you are just kind of smoothing them together. Let me come back in here. So what I mean by smoothing is just kind of pretend like you're buttering your toast in the morning. If you eat toast for breakfast, buttering that toast rather than, you don't want to be bouncing. So you don't want your spatula to kind of be bouncing on there. What bouncing is going to do is that's going to put air bubbles into your nail. So make sure that you're just kind of smoothing that through that whole surface and getting that combined really well without adding any air bubbles to it. Okay, I think we're looking good there. So we're going to scrape all of that off, combine it, and then I like to go once more over the whole thing, really just making sure that all of those air bubbles, if there was any air bubbles, I get those nice and pressed out. Then I'll come back through and scoop all of that back together one last time, and then I know that that is ready to go. So again, you guys, camera does not do this justice, but this is a beautiful metallic based kind of a color that we've got mixed here. So you guys, if you're liking this color combination, if you're enjoying our live stream so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you can continue to join us for all of this great education. All right, we do have the two other colors that we're going to use today, major and minor raindrops, but I'm not going to actually mix these into our gel. So we're going to use those kind of as a second layer. So we're going to set our other gels off to the, or other glitters off to the side here. Gonna grab our nail out of the light. So that is now cured. And I'm gonna pinch that form together underneath here. We're gonna remove that form. And at this point, all we have is just kind of a shell. We don't have a full nail or anything here. We just have, somebody called it a skeleton of a nail a while back. And I kind of like that description because it really is just kind of the inner layer of that, okay? So just a platform that we're gonna work on. So we're gonna take that glitter mixture, and today we're gonna be doing a fade. And you guys, around the holidays, I love doing faded designs like this because it's really gonna be something that your clients can wear through the whole holiday season. A lot of times, you know, people wanna do all of this beautiful dimensional work, but I'll tell you guys, sometimes, you know, everybody's spending money on the holidays and gifts and all of that, so they may not want to be spending a ton of money on their nails. So something like this, you can do this dimensional design and they can wear it throughout the whole entire holiday season, and they don't have to change it out every time they get their nails filled, but you can maybe add something to it or just kind of let it grow out. And I'm going to show you a little bit of something else that you can add to it to kind of change it up at the end, so over the top of it. So for now, we're just going to kind of fade in our design. We're going to fade that glitter onto the nail, and I'm just kind of brushing through that, but really just kind of floating that product on the surface. So I'm not really putting a lot of pressure. You guys, I'm not putting pressure with my brush like this. I'm really keeping a little bit more of just kind of a soft brush. So not a lot of pressure, just kind of a soft brush to move that product around and spread that glitter gel mixture. Okay, let me just clean my nail off really quick here. And then once we've got enough product on there, I'm going to kind of use my tile, wipe out my brush a little bit, clean some of that glitter out, and then I'm going to turn my brush around and I'm just going to start to feather out the edge of that glitter. Now, depending on how long you think your client is going to want to wear this, you may want to blend that quite far back, or you may want to just blend it just a little bit. So the longer or the farther back you blend it, the longer she's going to be able to wear this without it looking like it's grown out. Because it's a fade, you're not going to notice that outgrowth area, and you'll just be able to fill that in with either clear or pink or whatever you want to fill in with, and still have this design intact. So again, a great option for around the holidays, or a way to get your designs to be able to be worn for a little bit longer. Okay, so I think we're good there. We got that kind of blended out. And I just want to make sure my free edge has kind of even consistency of that glitter. Looks like I got a little bit of a bare spot right there, so I just want to fill that in. Okay, I think we're good there. We're going to get that back into the light. We're going to freeze that into place. So again, that's going to go into the light for about 30 seconds. I'm going to grab my major and minor raindrops. That's the other colors that we've got here. And I absolutely love this combination because we've got kind of that silver and gold underneath, but then this the major and minor raindrops here are going to add a little bit more color reflection. So again, this is going to be a great option to wear throughout the whole entire holiday season because your clients don't have to worry about matching, you know, outfit colors and things like that. The colors in here are going to work again with silver or gold, whatever they're wearing. And then anything in here, the colors from the major and minor raindrops are really going to just go well with whatever else they're wearing. So great combination for any color, anything that they're wearing, whether it's fancy or not fancy. So we're going to grab a little bit more of that base gel. Just going to take a little scoop of that. Just brush that through that nail, just to kind of re-wet the surface. And then we'll grab, I'm actually going to grab, let's see here. I'll find one of my old art brushes, just a little art brush with a frayed edge. And we'll just kind of tap that into our bigger gels here and just kind of add those little pieces anywhere you want to on the nail. And again, I like to have the bigger and the smaller pieces just because it adds a little more texture, a little more dimension. And you guys, as I'm working, do you see how I kind of rotate that finger? I always do that when I'm adding in kind of more sheer kind of things like this or mylars and things like that, to where you really want to see how it reflects. So I'm rotating that so I can see the reflection in the light. So again, just kind of setting those down into that layer of wet base, kind of tapping those in there, make sure they're all nice and even. We'll get that back into the light one more time for another 30-second freeze. And once we get that set into place, then we'll go ahead and cap the whole nail. So we'll take another look at this, you guys. Actually, let me close up my base here. We don't need the base anymore. But if we take a look at this, again, from that side view, you can see that we really don't have a whole lot of structure in here. The nail itself is fairly thin. If we didn't cap this nail, first of all, it's going to break. But second of all, when we do any of our filing, we're going to file off all of our color and our glitter. So we want to make sure that we build up structure over this and seal in our glitters so that we don't file anything off. Now you can use that, the clear sculptor that we were using earlier. That works totally fine. But honestly, when I'm doing, especially these colors, but a lot of dimensional nails, when I'm using my glitters and things like that, I really like to use the Build Pink because the Build Pink really just kind of magnifies those glitters that are in the nail. So let me come in here. And I'm just going to start by squeezing out a little bit of that Build Pink right at my cuticle area. And I'm going to kind of work in a circular motion. So just kind of using the nozzle, a little bit of a circular motion, counterclockwise to the left side. And then, did I say that right? Clockwise to the right side, counterclockwise to the left side. That way it's going to get your product up into that cuticle area. But you guys notice, if you look really close, you can see there's still a tiny little hairline of space right in between. So I don't put that product right onto the cuticle. There's a reason for that. You want to make sure that you're keeping your product a little ways away from the skin so that the product has a good seal onto the nail. If you do end up getting your product on the skin, first of all, make sure to clean it off right away. But if you accidentally get it on there and you don't clean it off, it's going to kind of seal to the skin and it's not going to get a good tight seal to that nail. So you may end up having some issues with lifting. So make sure that you keep that product a little away from the cuticle. And then we're just going to work by starting to kind of pull that product down the length of the nail. Again, if you need more product, squeeze out a little bit more towards the center, and then just start to draw that down the length of our nail. Okay, now I'm going to come back in with my brush just to kind of touch up around the edges, make sure that I've got that as close to the cuticle area as I can without touching, make sure that my sides are fine, make sure that I've got enough product where I want it. And then we'll get this back into the light. Now I am going to just freeze this again for another 30 seconds or so just to get that set into place. Once that's set into place, then I will kind of take that back out, check this nail, make sure that the proper structure is in there. And I'm probably going to have to add a little bit of product, which is very normal. You know, it's okay to add product. It's not a big deal. But you want to make sure that you are getting that proper structure. So after about, I'd say probably 10 to 20 seconds on that one. Let's come in here, get you guys a better view. So you can start to see, I do have the start to my structure in here, but especially when we're working on a longer nail like this, I really need to make sure that my arch back through here is really built up. So that arch area, that's our stress area. That's where any of that stress is gonna go. Say your client is gonna, maybe she jams her nail on something, that's where all that pressure is gonna go into that stress area. So if you don't have this area back here built up thick enough, you're not going to have strength to that nail, especially with these longer nails, okay? So we're going to go back through, we're going to add a little bit more product right down that arch area. So I'm just going to squeeze out a little more product all the way through that arch, kind of taper that off the free edge. And then I'm just going to use my brush to just kind of feather that down the sides. It is going to self-level a little bit, but I'm just kind of helping it down those sides a little bit. And then maybe also back up into that cuticle area, just so it kind of flows back down. All right, so I think we're looking good on our arch now. Now we're gonna get that into the light and we're gonna put that in for a full 60-second cure. Okay, so that one's gonna go in the light for 60 seconds. Now those of you that are regulars to our live stream, you know that I usually set this light here to 30 seconds and then I've got this one set to 60 seconds. I don't know, today I just wanted to use the light on the right side. It's just feeling better today. So that one's gonna go in there for 60 seconds. We're gonna let that cure into place. And then while I'm letting that cure, I am gonna go through and clean up a little bit. So with my precision applicator tubes, I always like to clean off the top, just make sure that there's no more gel kind of squeezing out. So that way when you do put the caps back on, it stays nice and clean and doesn't get all gel all over the place. And we'll do the same thing here. Again, making sure that that's nice and clean. Put your caps back on. And you guys, sometimes I will save what's on here. So I will wait until I actually finish this nail rather than trying to throw this away or clean this off right now. Sometimes I may end up having to do a little bit of touch up. So I always want to just kind of set this off to the side and then I'll clean that off at the end. But hang on to that. Looks like our nail is fully cured here after 60 seconds. It does have a tacky surface that we need to cleanse off. So I'm going to grab our swipe again. So that same product that we were using to cleanse the natural nail. This time I'm going to use one of our lint-free wipes. I'm going to pump a little bit of that onto my wipe. And we're going to come through and you guys watch how I cleanse this. I don't just scrub this back and forth. I start kind of towards the top part of the finger and I wipe kind of down and around. So all the way through there. The reason that I do this, let me come in a little closer, and then I actually will fold that in half. But the reason that I wipe this way and I wipe a second time is because that way I'm not pushing that uncured gel back up onto their skin. Okay, that tacky surface is uncured gel, so you want to make sure that you're wiping that off the finger, not pushing that back up onto their skin. Okay, and same thing, I just kind of fold that back over really to make sure that there's still or that there's no more of that tacky residue on there. Okay, you always want to make sure that you get that nail nice and clean. Whoops, nice and clean, no extra sticky on there, and nothing to get onto their skin. Okay, all right, let's grab our electric file and we're going to switch from that sanding band we were using earlier. We're going to grab our X-Cut carbide. Now the carbide bit is designed to shave down product, so this is what we can use on an artificial nail. You do not want to use the carbide bits on a natural nail. It's going to be way too coarse and it's going to cause damage. But on an artificial nail here, it's actually going to work really well. Okay, so we're going to turn our dust collector on and we're going to turn our electric file on. We're going to turn our speed on our E-file to about 15,000 RPMs. I'd say about 14 to 15,000 for the for working over gel. And we're going to start on our sidewalls. We're just going to start by straightening out those sides. So I'm basically just pulling down on my left side and then I'm going to push back on my right side. Now notice that as I work, I support the opposite side. So when I'm working on my left side, I have my fingers here to support on the right side. When I push back on the left, I have my thumb here to support, when I push back on the right, I have my thumb on the left to support on that side. So that way you're going to get an even file all the way through. and your nail's not going to be wobbling back and forth. So this is just going to help to kind of keep things nice and straight and nice and even, okay? We're going to turn that nail on the side. I'm going to clean up all of this product that's hanging down. So what I mean by hanging down is we want our extension to come straight out from where that natural nail is. So anything that's covered up by my orange wood stick right now, let me just, there we go. So anything that's covered up by my orange wood stick, that all needs to get filed off, okay? So all of that little stuff that's hanging down through here, that all needs to get filed off. So we're gonna come in here, and I'm just gonna push that back, straightening that out. Now you guys be careful that you're not going all the way up into that corner. You don't wanna damage their skin, but again, just pushing straight back, but keeping this in line with that nail, okay? So kind of keep that visual in line, or keep in mind. Okay, we still have a little bit more to take down. Just pushing all the way through there. And you guys, you're gonna go back through with your hand file, so this doesn't have to be perfect, but this is just gonna help you so that you don't have a whole lot of filing to do with that hand file. Now this side, you guys, you can see there's not really a whole lot that needs to get cleaned off. So maybe just a tiny little bit right through here, but I don't want to overfile and take off too much of that, okay? So just a little bit. All right, let's come back around. We're gonna work right up around our cuticle area. We're gonna get that product thinned and tapered. So if we take a look at this from the side, do you see how I'm kind of working, again, that bit, just like we were talking about when we were taking our shine, or we were removing shine from that natural nail, we're not angling that bit up. We're staying parallel to that product, okay? So keep that bit flush onto the nail, okay? We're gonna work right down the arch of this nail. So just from the center over to the side. I'm not coming all the way from side to side, okay? At this point, I don't need to. All I'm trying to do is get the proper positioning of our arch, okay? So we're just kind of coming right through that center. Start at that free edge, kind of working back. Start at that cuticle, work forward. And that's how we're gonna really start to get that proper apex and that arch to our nail, okay? We're gonna turn this nail, look down the barrel. Let me readjust you guys here. So at this point, we've filed right down the center of our nail. Now we just need to file those sides to just take down some of that bulk from the side, okay? You guys, as I'm filing here, on the left side, I'm using the top part of my bit. On the right side, I'm using the bottom part of my bit. And then, once I get the bulk taken down from both of those sides, I'll start with the bottom on the right side, work up into the center of my bit onto the top of the nail, and then all the way down to the left side with the top of my bit. That way, I'm gonna get that really nice contour all the way through the surface of that nail, okay? Now, we got a little bit of product kind of hanging down below here. We're not gonna worry too much about that because we are going to do some other filing with our hand file. But this is just getting kind of that preliminary shape into our nail. Now I am gonna go back through from that side view one last time. I always kind of like to check from that one last time just to make sure everything's right on track. Okay. Now at this point, you could go right to your hand file, but I actually like to switch back to my sanding band. I like to work with that just one more time to kind of refine everything up around the cuticle areas and through the rest of the structure of the nail. I'm going to turn this down to about 7,000 RPMs. And again, we're going to work just in those same areas that we already went through. But again, this is going to help to really taper everything, really customize everything, contour everything, and really make sure that everything is as smooth as I can get it. So when I do go to my hand file, I'm really not going to have a whole lot of work to do, just a little bit of perfecting. So you guys, I always say that the more you can do with your electric file and the less you do by hand, the easier your job is going to be, okay? And the easier it's going to be on your hands, on your wrists, on your shoulders, on your arms. All of that stuff is going to be much easier. So anything that you can do with the electric file, I would say do that. That way you're going to save your body in the long run, okay? So now at this point, we are just going to come back through and customize. We're going to start on our sidewalls. We're going to use our file. We're going to keep our file straight in line with those edges. We're going to straighten out that edge. All I see is the blue line of my file. Do you guys see? If I start to angle my file in like this, that's probably going to start cutting up into those corners. So make sure that you're keeping that blue line kind of as your eye. You know, that's what you're wanting to see, is that blue line. Straightening out those sides. Same thing, just like I was talking about before, using that thumb to balance on the left side. Use the ring finger to balance on the right side. Going all the way through, straightening out those sidewalls. Okay, I'm not going to worry too much about the point right now. We're going to get that in a second, but we're going to turn that finger on the side. Now we're going to come in, we're going to get that last little bit. Let me dust this off. We're going to get this last little bit of product that's kind of hanging out down here in the corner. But you guys, to get that, I don't want to just come in at an angle like this, okay? Again, if we come in at an angle here, that's going to put a little notch right in that corner. We still want to make sure that we're keeping that file straight in line. So straight out, we're going to put more of our pressure with our file right here at the free edge. And then it's going to just basically work back to kind of working in and up through here. Okay, so it's kind of starting down here, working our way up and in, and then it's going to take down that little bit of bulk right through there. Okay, so again, pressure on the free edge, all the way back, and then that's going to clean up that little catch right back through here. Okay. All right, I think we're good there. So guys, you can see now that that nail is coming nice and straight out from that natural nail. Turn that on the other side. We're going to do the same thing. Again, this one doesn't have a whole lot, but I'm still going to put more of that pressure towards the free edge and file until that comes straight up even with that lower arch. All right, I think we're good there. We're going to come up around our cuticle area, get that nice and thin and tapered. Let me come out here. Okay. Nice and thin and tapered up around our cuticle. Come up and around those sides. You guys, I still balance on that other side. Okay, up and around, contouring and rounding out those edges. Same thing on my right side. I'm going to kind of pull that file down and around, or push up and down, up and around, contouring in those edges. Okay. I'm going to turn that nail on the side, and I'm going to just put a little bit of pressure. Let me turn from this side so you guys can see. So I'm going to put a little bit of pressure with my file right down towards the free edge, and I'm going to file backwards. So what that's going to do at this angle, that's going to actually file and taper in that free edge without taking down the bulk through my stress area here. Okay, so just keeping that free edge nice and thin, nice and tapered without taking away our structure. Okay, you guys, if you're enjoying our live stream, make sure you hit that subscribe button, join our channel, join our community. Get all this great free education. All right, let's take a look now from our client's view. This is how we're going to finish the nail, okay? So you guys, you can see, let me come a little closer. You can see I've got a little bit of an unevenness to my side right here. And so from this view, this is how I want to fix that. Okay, I want to make sure that I'm getting everything nice and clean and shaped properly from my client's view, so that when she looks at her nails, she's going to see nice, straight, even nails. Okay, now this is where I'm going to shape up that free edge. I know we talked about I don't spend a lot of time doing that from the other view, because this is where I'm really going to make sure everything is perfectly shaped. So this is where I'm going to make sure that comes to a nice point, and maybe we'll just round that out just a tiny bit. But we're going to make a nice stiletto today. Okay. Now I'm also going to look backwards down the barrel of the nail. So we're going to look from basically from the cuticle forward. And you guys kind of see how I rock that finger up and down. This is going to really help me to see all the way from that cuticle area all the way through the free edge. I'm not just looking from here to here. I want to look from here all the way through that whole free edge. So again, that's why I'm going to rock that finger kind of up and down so that I can see all the way through. Also notice how as I'm filing, I'm not just picking at that nail, I'm flowing my file all the way through. Every time you pick at the nail, every time that file hits, it's going to file a flat spot. So that's why you want to make sure that you're flowing that file all the way through to get that really nice, smooth, contoured finish. Okay? All right, I think we are looking good from backwards down the barrel. Maybe just a little bit, kind of round out that edge a little bit. All right, I think we are good there. Okay, let's go ahead and finish up this nail. Let me turn off our dust collector. Whoops. All right, do you guys want to see top coat, or do you want to see one more added element to this nail? Let me know in the chat. If you want to see top coat, you know what to do. Do your top coat chant. Those of you that have been with us in our channel here for a while, you know what the top coat chant is. But you guys let me know in the chat. Do you want to see top coat, or do you want one more added embellishment? Add top coat. Oops. Let's go ahead and dust this off. More. All right, you guys, looks like a few of you want top coat, but some of you want that added element. Let's go ahead and add an element, because you guys, like I was saying before, this nail and this color combination is a really good one to get you through the holidays. So adding other elements on top, guys, I'm just going to cleanse the nail with our swipe, but adding other elements on the top is going to help you to be able to change out this design so that, whoops, popped our nail off here. But you can change out the design with just adding a few different things. Hang on, guys, I lost my nail. Hold on. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let's get that nail back in there. You guys, make sure that you pop that nail in there 3 times, okay? Get that in there. All right. Moderators said I can't hear you. Moderators, are you telling me you can't hear me? Let me know. Let me know. Hopefully you guys can hear me. You guys let me know in the chat. Can you guys hear me or not hear me? All right, I'm going to keep going here. Oh, okay. All right, good. You guys can hear me. I saw that and I wasn't sure if you guys couldn't hear me or hear me, but it sounds like we're all good. Okay, so we cleanse the nail. I'm going to use my protein bond. I'm going to do one more coat of my protein bond. And we're going to get that through the whole surface of the nail. This is going to help to kind of fill in those little scratch marks from the file. And it's also going to help adhere our next layer to our nail. So our next little element, you guys, this is going to be just something really quick and easy. And I'm going to grab, let's see, a couple of different things here. Actually, I'm going to grab that little tile that I was using before. And we're going to push some of this gel away. So we're going to push that away. You guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button while I'm cleaning off my little tile here. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, join our community, get all this great free education. All right, so I'm going to clean off. I'm going to use a little bit of swipe on my lint-free wipe here and just clean off a little area. So I'm going to put down a little bit of our Mission Control gel paint called Fizz. Now, this is a white gel paint. And I absolutely love this one because it's a very, very pigmented gel. So you can really use it for design work and things like that, and you're going to get really good coverage. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that white gel paint, pop that, just set that right onto my tile. And let's go ahead and do a really quick and easy snowflake. You guys, again, this is really something that is going to be an easy change out. It's going to be quick because you guys, I know in salon this time of year, your clients love all the artwork, but you're trying to get so many different people in that sometimes the easy things, the quick things are going to be your best friend. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I have a dotting tool, and on one end I've got a larger kind of a bead, and then on the other end it's the smaller bead for the dotting tool. I'm going to start with that larger end. Oops, let me guys come in here so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to take a little bit of that Mission Control Fizz, and we're going to start our snowflake. Maybe we'll just start it right here in the center. So I'm going to put a nice solid dot. And you guys make sure when you put your dot on, lift straight up. Do you kind of see how there's a little bit of a string that stays attached? lift straight up so that you don't get that little string kind of off to the sides, okay? I'm going to go back into my paint. I'm going to do another dot below, back into my paint. I'm going to do another dot above, back to my paint, a dot to the right, back to my paint, and a dot to my left, okay? So we've got 2, 4, 5 dots, and then I'm going to grab my micro detailer brush. And you guys, this is a tiny, tiny little brush, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of run this through that gel paint. Now, I'm not trying to actually load any paint onto that brush. I'm just kind of wetting the brush, and then I'm just going to kind of roll that extra paint off of my brush back onto my tile. I'm going to start with my brush right in the center of that center dot. I'm going to kind of set my brush down, lay that brush down, pull that brush through that line, okay? If you need to, maybe do one more pull through it, just to kind of pull all the way out to kind of that point on the end. Turn my brush around. I'm going to do that same thing, pull that all the way through that second dot right to the end, okay? Same thing on the other side, start in the center, lay that brush down, pull all the way through out the side. And just kind of touching that up. Other side, turn my brush around. Whoops, sorry, you guys can see here. I'm going to pull my brush straight through. You guys, this may not have been my ideal design if I've got shaky hands, which I've got a little bit today, but it's okay. Sometimes we get those shaky hands and we just kind of work through it. There's just a tiny little air bubble right in the center. I just wanted to pop that quick. I'm going to take a little bit of that paint from the center. I'm going to kind of do a little bit of an accent line right through the side here, right in between through here. Turn my brush, again, come right in between through here. Just a couple of short little lines right in between. And you guys, hand-painted designs are not always my forte, so if I can do this one, you guys can do it. I promise you, okay? I'm going to go back to my dotting tool, and I'm going to use the smaller end. I'm going to pick up another tiny little dot here. I'm going to put just one little dot at the end of each of those lines in between. So one more right in between, right at the end of those lines. And you guys notice that I always pick up more paint as I go. Okay, so I pick up paint, put my dot, pick up paint, put my dot. That way your dots are all going to be the same size and shape. And let's go ahead and get this into the light. We're just going to set that in there for maybe 10 seconds or so. And then we'll go ahead and finish this nail. Now you guys, just to show you one other fun thing that you can do on this nail. Again, you guys, when you're doing these designs, you want quick, you want easy. So I'm going to show you just really quickly with our jewel foil kit. I think this is still available in the blowout deals, but you guys, this kit comes with 3, 6, 9, 12 different foils. So I'm going to show you just a really quick way to add a little bit of extra something to your nails as well. I'm going to grab my manicure base coat. We're going to do a thin layer of our base coat so that our snowflake is kind of set into place. We froze it into place. We're going to do another coat of our base coat. You guys, this is going to kind of cheat and show you what the nail is going to look like at the end with that shine, but I'm not going to show you up close and personal just yet. I got to tease you for just a little bit longer. Okay, so one coat of base coat. Going to freeze that back into place for another 30 seconds. And you guys, we're going to adhere our little pieces of foil into that tacky surface of our base coat. Now, could you use manicure top coat? Could you use stain resistant? You can use really anything that has that tacky finish to it, but I actually like the tacky feel of the base coat versus some of the other ones. So it's a personal preference. I feel like the manicure top coat, using that, it's a little bit thinner, but I feel like it's kind of slippery feeling. So when I put my foils in with the base coat, I feel like they really stick where I put them. So let's grab some of our foil pieces out here. And you guys, you can use them right out of the container like this, or let me grab another mixing tile here. Or you can just kind of pull those out and set them onto your tile. Let me find my little tweezer here. So sometimes I like to just take a few little pieces out to set them onto my tile, or sometimes I just like to use them right out of the container. So just kind of however you like to work. If you want to pull those apart a little bit more so you have smaller pieces, you can do that as well. But again, you guys, the foil is another easy thing to use around the holidays because it's fast, it's simple. You don't have to have a whole lot of technical skill to work with it. I'm just going to use my gel brush. It does have a little bit of gel still in it, but I am going to wipe out a good amount of that. I don't want a lot of gel in there, but I do want to use just kind of that tacky surface of it, just to kind of grab that foil, just kind of set down pieces of that down onto that tacky surface. Let me come in a little closer. So again, you guys, as this nail is maybe growing out and maybe you want to fill in some of that space back by the cuticle, this is a great option, okay? So just using a little bit of that silver, a little bit of that gold foil, and it's really not changing my design a lot, but it's adding to it. It's adding another dimension to it. So this is going to be on the surface of the nail where all of the other glitters are in the nail. So you can really see depth when you add designs on top of your nail as well as in the nail. Okay, so just another quick, easy thing that you can add into your holiday designs so that you can, you know, change up your designs for your client, give them a little bit of a different look every time, but not have to completely change everything out. Okay, now you guys, I always want to make sure that that foil is kind of pressed down into that tacky surface. So I'm going to grab, let me come out here a second. I'm going to grab my, this is our stamper. So this is our clear stamper. So I'm just going to use this to kind of just press those foils down, make sure that everything is flat down onto the nail. This way I don't have to try to use my finger or anything like that. This is going to really just press all those little pieces of foil down into that tacky surface. I am going to pop this back into the light for, I don't know, maybe another quick 10 seconds or so, however long it takes you to put the caps back on. But just to kind of freeze those little pieces of foil into place, they are going to adhere into that tacky layer of gel. So just give it another quick, like I said, maybe 10 to 20 seconds or so, set those into place. Now we can do our top coat. So those of you, again, that know the top coat chant, let's go ahead and start that in the chat. Those of you that are new to our channel, just follow the crowd. They know what to do. Now you guys, before I do put my top coat on, I am going to do one more quick coat of base gel. So that way it's really going to seal those pieces of foil into the nail. Now if I did go right into my top coat, I'm going to use the Ultimate Finish. So that is a thicker top coat, so it probably would be just fine to seal in. But just to be sure, and especially also with that snowflake that we did on there, I want to make sure that I've got a nice smooth finish to the nail. So adding that extra coat of the base coat, it's going to be just a little bit smoother of a finish, okay? Again, we'll cure that in the light for another maybe 10 to 20 seconds or so, and then we'll get our top coat on. So again, you guys, hit that subscribe button, make sure you join our community, get all this great free education, and let's go ahead and do our top coat. So you guys, you can already see how shiny this nail is, how absolutely gorgeous it is. But hopefully this gives you some ideas on how to do some nails that are going to last through the season. By doing a fade rather than a nail that is color all the way through up to the cuticle area, this is going to help so that as those nails grow out, you're not going to see that regrowth as much. And again, your clients are going to be able to keep this design. You can maybe add a few things here, add some foil, add some confettis, add some, you know, whatever you want to add to the surface, and then you can kind of change that out easily when you're doing those fills, but you don't have to completely change everything, okay? So we've got our nail back into the light here for just a few more seconds. You guys, again, with the Ultimate Finish top coat, that is a 60-second full cure. It is going to dry with no tacky finish to it, but I'm just going to go in there for maybe a quick 30 seconds so you guys can see the finished look here. So let's come back here. You guys, again, camera does not ever do this justice. So you guys, hopefully you will try this color combination and do all of these gorgeous designs for the holidays. If you guys do any of these designs that we're showing you here on our social media, make sure to tag us. We want to see what you're doing, see what you're creating, use our inspiration, make it your own. Oh my gosh, you guys, there we go. Let me come out just a little bit. But now you can really see all of that color in there, all of that different reflection. And again, you guys, this is a great combination because it's really going to go with anything and everything. So whatever your client is doing or whatever you're doing for the holidays, it's a great design. It's a great color combination, and it's super, super fun, super easy, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So thank you all for joining us on our live stream today. Make sure to, again, subscribe, and also make sure to set your notifications because we're going to be going live, I think Tuesday and Wednesday this week, both here on YouTube and then also on TikTok. So make sure to subscribe, make sure to set your notifications, and make sure to join us. So thanks, everybody. We will see you next time.